Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy. And thank you so much for joining me for it. So the 5 panels that had anything newsworthy here at Celebration today on Saturday were the Ahsoka panel, the High Republic panel, the Young Jedi Adventures panel, the Return of the Jedi 40th Anniversary panel, and the Clone Wars 15th Anniversary panel. So let's start with the big news with Ahsoka. Yes, Lars Mikkelsen is real. It is happening. He is returning to play the live-action Grand Admiral Thrawn. He, of course, voiced the character in Star Wars Rebels, and fans have been adamant about wanting him to return to the role. There's been a lot of mystery around it. I think Lars has even denied that he had anything to do with it. But I mean, what is he going to say? You know, like, honestly, I feel like the media training should just be Pablo Hidalgo's line, "Don't ask me about the future," and just leave it at that, right? So that way he's not put in the position of having to lie or having to, you know, do anything uncomfortable or anything like that. But suffice it to say, he is back, and that's very exciting. Supposedly, there are going to be as many as 8 episodes, and the reason why we know that is because they announced 6 directors and said that Dave Filoni is going to direct multiple episodes, so at least 7, probably 8. I haven't seen a confirmation of 8 officially anywhere, but yeah, that's sort of, I guess, what you might expect for them to be leaning. Boba Fett was 7 episodes, so it's not like they haven't done it before. And then we'll talk more about the Ahsoka panel in our bonus episode. We'll dive more deeply into the stuff that they talked about in that panel. But yeah, those are the headline news bits from that. Oh, and I'll also say that the private footage they showed was much of what they showed at the studio showcase, but they also showed Sabine wielding Ezra's green lightsaber, the lightsaber that he gave to her at the end of Rebels. So that is still kicking around and being used, and of course Dave Filoni wouldn't forget a little tidbit like that. Then for the High Republic panel, this was also a huge panel in terms of the reveals, particularly for the fact that for Phase 3 Trials of the Jedi, they actually revealed the entire slate of novels that will be coming out. All 3 adult novels, all 3 YA novels, all 3 middle grade novels. They also revealed the general schedule that they're going to follow. For Wave 1, it's going to be November, January, and March for the book releases. So we're not going to have, 2 right on top of each other and 1 a month after. And then the next ones are coming for Wave 2 in summer of 2024, and Wave 3 is in spring of 2025. So Michael Siglain talked about how this was intentional because they needed to kind of gain momentum and traction by releasing books closer together in the previous phases, but they want to be able to have everybody have time to read the books in Phase 3 and be all caught up as things are releasing. Also breaking news at the panel, they have added a 10th person to the whole story architect team. That is Alyssa Wong. So that's very exciting. Alyssa has a short story in the Barnes & Noble edition of Stories of Light and Life that comes out in September, and it has stories that take place across the spectrum of High Republic storytelling. And Alyssa will also be co-writing, I believe it's a middle grade novel, as part of Wave 1 of Phase 3. And finally, once the live stream was cut from the High Republic panel, they brought Leslie Headland out. She, of course, being the executive producer and showrunner of The Acolyte. She also brought out Rebecca Henderson and revealed to the audience after they replayed the trailer from Studio Showcase, and it was the same footage, that Rebecca is going to be playing a live-action Vernestra Rwoh. And they showed a photo of her in her mission Jedi robes and talked about how Vernestra is at a crossroads in her life and Jedi career, and that her journey kind of mirrors the journey of the Jedi at large at this particular time of the spectrum, which is much closer to the Phantom Menace end of High Republic storytelling. And then the rest of this wraps up pretty easily. Young Jedi Adventures, I did not actually go to the premiere, though I sat outside of it and got to listen to a bunch of it while I was putting all of my High Republic updates up on our Twitter account. It sounds fun, and so we will check it out on May 4th when it comes out, and if there's stuff to be talking about from a storytelling perspective, then yeah, we'll cover it on the podcast. I know it's targeted toward much younger audiences comparatively, but we'll see what happens. Who knows? There might be some fascinating stuff in there for the whole mythology of things. You never know. And then the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary panel. So the news that came out of that is that they're going to do a re-release of Return of the Jedi in theaters. It's going to be out for limited time starting April 28th, going to May 4th in the US and to May 1st in the UK, and it's going to be in other locations as well. And then with the Clone Wars 15th anniversary panel, there wasn't any Clone Wars news necessarily, but Dave Filoni announced that there will be a second season of Tales of the Jedi. That season, of course, debuted last year with 3 stories about Ahsoka and 3 stories about Count Dooku. He did not say when it was coming or who would be featured in it, if the format would even be the same. We have no idea. We just know that a season 2 has been authorized. He said, I had so much fun that I got to do another one. So that's fantastic news. And those are the headlines from the second day of Star Wars Celebration Europe. Tomorrow there's going to be a Villains of the Sequel Trilogy panel with Andy Serkis and Gwendolyn Christie and Ian McDiarmid. There's going to be an Obi-Wan retrospective panel. There will be a Dark Horse Comics panel. They are doing quote-unquote all ages comics for Star Wars. They took over from IDW, basically. And then a Lucasfilm Publishing panel will also happen. That's everything publishing that is not High Republic related, so we'll keep an eye out for that and summarize all the news that comes out of those panels on tomorrow's episode of the show. But that's going to do it for this one. So it just remains for me to say, check out the bonus episode that we do on Ahsoka, and if you haven't already. And thank you so much for joining me for this, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.